All right. Looks like I'm live, so good morning. Here I am. I'm home. Home from work today. We're expecting bad weather. I wasn't feeling great yesterday. I only worked a half day. I worked a super long day on Monday. Used up every hour waiting for bullshit, and now I'm home for the day, relaxing, which I guess is all right because I'm recovering. Got a load of laundry in, and I got some music recorded. So I'm not sure if I can. I'm not sure if I can do that. I don't want to do the share the screen, select window or screen. I don't know how to do it. I'm gonna see if I can. Let's see if I can do this because I'm not sure if I can do it, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to share what I was doing here. So I've got this Clipchamp thing here, and I started working on a thing. So I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see if I can like share it here. This is, I was creating a new video. So I want to like see if I can do this here. I got this. All right, so I'm gonna try to play this. So I think what I gotta do is go to here. I switched. Wait a second. I don't want to do that. Okay, I want to present, share screen. All right, here I can do this. Okay, so I'm saying allow. Okay, perfect. Okay, now, so what happens if I add this to the timeline? Okay, and I go back. So I make really bad music. So here we go. Here I'm playing some of the bad music here right now. So here it is. When you're wrong today. This is my newest. Not my newest piece of music, but it's can't see the angles. Anyway, I know nobody's here. Even try. You glowed even weather. You're right or you're wrong. I'm listening to like the live raw video or the audio. Stupid. You're so I'm planning to upload this later. Stupid. But I'm no flirt. I'm a glober. I'm hoping people are going to enjoy this. What the fuck am I doing here? I can't believe this. I can't lose these cells. I want to teach a troll. I want a stellar body. And I want lunar albedo. I want you to know this. Earth is fucking round. You're so fucking stupid. I wish I was stupid. That I'm no flurf. I'm a globy. Oh, what the fuck did I just hear? You're so wrong here. Flurfs run for the door. Run. They've seen that we're spinning. Sphere, spin, 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 spin. Whatever makes perfect sense. Whatever fits the model. You have to ignore. You're so fucking stupid. Oh, I wish I was stupid. But I'm no flurf. I'm a glober. What the hell am I doing here? These deniers of sphere. Yeah, flirts deny our home sphere. All right, there we go. It ran through there. You can see I'm wearing my Raptors shirt here. I am I'm an extremely casual basketball fan. And this shirt just came out of my drawer this morning, and I wasn't putting on my work uniform, so I'm putting on my support for the local sports ball team, because the geographic location of your birth is how you decide which professional athletes you support. I guess I believe that's how this works. Anyway, I've been doing a little bit of AI art in preparation of this. And yeah, I'm gonna download some of this, and I'm gonna put the art together. I think, like, this particular take on this. I mean, I'm an extremely bad singer. As you all know, anybody who's I don't know, would you call it a fan? I don't think you'd call it a fan. Oh, fuck, Punk Apostate's on. Like, no wonder this is no good. This is no good at all. And he's reminding people to go to adamandeve.com and enter the code Brentley when you check out. And whatever you want to stick it in or stick inside you, you know, Brentley's making sure people get that. That's awesome. So yeah, no wonder nobody's here. Because, like, I'm pretty sure anybody that wants to see what I have to say also wants to see what Brentley has to say. So I'm gonna work on this video, and I was gonna do another chat about something. So I thought I'd just put this out there, and obviously people can watch this again. So here's what I want to talk about today that goes on top of my music, because I have been sucked back down the rabbit hole into the, what the fuck is wrong with people that think the earth is flat? And I mean, like, you hear the arguments they make, and they're all the same stupid arguments. They're all totally debunked. But there's something about it. And I've been checking out this guy who Dr. Tapp actually talked to this person at one point, and had a chat on their channel about gravity. Anyway, this guy Nathan Pitch Lumen, definitely, what would you say? He's extremely, like, a religious flirt, but he's not vile in his conversation. He's very unaware of what he doesn't know. I try really hard to know what I don't know, and there's certainly things I delve into a little bit that I don't fully understand, but I'm willing to learn and understand them. I feel like Nathan wants to learn and understand this stuff, but he's made some comments to me in his channel, and then in this other these other sort of chats or debates he's done. I mean, they're really more. He's not someone who's super loud and obnoxious. He's willing to listen to what people say, but he's extremely confused. And so one of the things that he posted was this idea about spherical excess, which there's more than one way to measure distances and angles and work out, whether or not you've got spherical triangles or planar triangles on the earth. And we always have spherical triangles, and so it confirms the globe earth. But what's interesting to me is, like, after seeing how confused he was, I was like, he's like, no, I looked this up. And there's a comment section of, there's 4 or 5 people trying to talk sense into him. And I think it was over 160 messages back and forth on his YouTube page, which is a stupid place to carry out these conversations. But it had me thinking again, about where do people get their ideas from. So I flat out said, like, where did you learn this? And he told me which video. He looked up a video on how to use an auto level, which is a tool used in basic land surveying. And an auto level in the right hands could probably give you some really good information. But the video using this auto level it was not a theodolite. It was an auto level. An auto level has some limitations that a theodolite does not have. I am not a surveyor. I did work in commercial construction for a long time. I've seen lots of surveyors do their work. I've read lots of surveys. I've looked at the information they have, and I've also seen drawings that from surveyors that are very clear about whether it's a local planar survey to just give us distances from things. But when we have elevations that are not off of a point, like not on a post, but they're actual elevations of the land vis-a-vis where we're building, they are geodetic surveys. And they are very clear about the information they have. And what's interesting is that because I quit doing that, I retired from construction and went into hauling construction equipment mostly, and mining equipment. It's kind of the same kind of shit, but obviously I'm in a tangential world here. But the point is, this is the point. This is the important thing, and this is what I want to get across. These things are done very precisely. They've added in GPS, but because my father, my grandfather, and my great-grandfather, and my uncle, my aunt, my great-uncle, my cousins have all worked in construction. And we've all dealt with different projects of many different sizes, everything from patching a hole in the wall to building brand new buildings from scratch. I've personally been involved in all of these things. I've been involved in infrastructure. I've been involved in projects that build out roads and driveways and parking lots. I've never been involved in road construction from scratch, but I know the basics of how that's done. I understand it. The concepts carry over very well to private infrastructure projects. Private infrastructure really is just the part that is on a private landowner's land and then connects in. And I've dealt with projects so large that septic tanks are put in that are larger than most people's homes. And even if you're like a multi-millionaire, it's bigger than your home. Because sometimes private infrastructure happens in places that aren't hooked up to city sewer lines because they're not in the city. So I've seen a lot of really important infrastructure projects, and the surveying that's done is extensive. And it's very precise because waterways are involved. When you have septic tanks involved near waterways, the distances are very precise. The elevations are very precise. And so I've had some chats with surveyors. I've seen how they do it. Nowadays, they do this stuff with GPS built in. It's the precision level is brought to a new level, and it speeds some things up. And computers are built into theodolites so that work that was hand calculated on a notepad is now done on a computer. But somebody that knows how to do it on a notepad checks what's in there. I'm sure lots of us that work with computers and calculators and things, if we're just punching in information like the way we would into just a spreadsheet, just as data entry people, we might not know if what we're putting in makes sense or not. But if you're someone who's got a somewhat sophisticated education in what it is you're dealing with, that's a different story, isn't it? You recognize when something doesn't make sense. And I was really struck last night on my way. I can't remember what the hell I was doing. I think I was just on my way home from work, and nobody was live streaming, and I wasn't in the mood to have a conversation with anybody because I was really sore yesterday. I tried to stream with Slim, but my family was home. I was home. I was sore. I wasn't in the mood for much of anything. But I was listening to Fight the Flat Earth, Craig. He's a bit of a character, and I'm not gonna pretend he's not, right. He just is. And not everybody likes his style, but he was a conversation with that guy Ross, who's on Something Offended channel. Is his channel? I think does music and basically doubting reality. I think you might call it globe skepticism or something like that. But basically, they're doubting reality because they're presented over and over again with the reality, and then they come back and say, "No, no, I think I could come up with another solution." And that's what this guy Nathan does. He's like, "Well, maybe it's this, maybe it's that," because he was talking to MC Toon recently, and Ross struck me with this idea he put out, which is that um the idea that Arthur Eddington in his I think it was 1919 there was an eclipse and he had two parties went out and took measurements to see if the starlight was deflected or refracted by a large gravitational body like our sun. So when the sun is eclipsed, oh hey Commander, yeah, you're in Buffalo. Yeah, I'm I'm probably an hour and 45 minutes driving in a personal vehicle to Buffalo, New York, or at least to Niagara Falls, and then Buffalo would be a little bit further. So yeah, I could, if there was no border crossing, Commander, I could probably be having a coffee with you in less than 2 hours if I was motivated to do so. It's good to see you. And yeah, Buffalo's a beautiful town. So yeah, so I was thinking about what these people are saying, and I wrote up this song a week or so ago, and I was thinking when they misunderstand the way science is done, that sort of gets everybody's ire up because they're basically saying no, like we want it done our way. We have in our mind that this should be a different way. It's like such a dumb way to look at it, I guess. But you know. It's amazing to see, but then you look at what they're saying. They're saying, well, they threw out the information, is what this guy said to fight the flat Earth, Craig, and Craig's like, no, he looked it up because they were like, this guy was being all high and mighty with making wagers on it for like large sums of money for regular people. Anyway, I can't afford to bet those amounts of money, and I mean, I was pretty sure I'd already read up on Eddington 6 months ago, and I was pretty sure I knew where Craig was going with this, but Craig pulled it up because I remembered that in the first experiment there was a couple of measurements they took that didn't make sense, but they took multiple measurements from multiple locations. Yeah, no, and Craig does, and some people don't like that Craig yells at people and loses his cool and whatever, but that's, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Sometimes I enjoy the dumpster fire, but you're right, Commanders. I just put this up here, right? Commander says, Craig actually does research on like the flat earthers, and yeah, no, he absolutely does. And he's also like, Craig has the basic education in science, and then he's further specialized in studying physics and nuclear engineering. And he worked in the British Navy in the military, where nuclear engineering was specifically involved in running the equipment that they used, the submarines themselves, and so on. And he was he did this engineering work in the Navy. um I'm not going to say that I know Craig's entire military career. I know he's retired from it. I know he's an injured vet. I know he's got a lot of stuff going on, and I'm not going to comment on his style other than to say, if you don't like it, don't watch him. But I find it entertaining most of the time. There's a couple of times he's gone a little crazy. Nuclear engineer station world. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Commander is right about that. So yeah, and Craig, Craig backs up his claims, right? I don't expect him to completely dox himself. I know I think he's put his entire name out there and stuff, but he has a very common last name and stuff. I mean, I hope people aren't giving him grief. Craig has a young family. He's got like, I'm a family man too. I get it. He's had some issues with neighbors and stuff, and he's talked about that. And he said, I defended my home and my family, and people complain about that. And I'm like, you know what? I would do the same fucking thing, right? Once you start coming in my door, I don't really care what the law is. I'm getting you out of my house one way or another. And yeah, he had a neighbor that like fucking freaked out on. So people give Craig a lot of grief about shit like that. And it's like, no, when your home and your family are under attack, no matter where you are, no matter what the specific laws are or how they look at it, I give people a wide berth on that. And even if the person was a flirt and someone came in attacking them, like I don't care that they don't know what shape the earth is. You attack somebody's family, that's not fucking cool. That's just basic human instinct to protect yourself and your family. So, end of story in my mind. But Craig backed up his claim a short time after, a bunch of posturing on both sides. But I knew where Craig was going. They took the measurements. They noted the measurements. They didn't use the ones that were way off what they expected. When they had so many, like they had a bunch that were what they expected. They met with the predictions from the theory put forth by Einstein. Eddington confirmed it in a bunch of measurements, but had a couple of measurements that weren't right. So he noted them, let everyone know they had them, but they put them aside, that's usually what you do. You look at outliers and you say, okay, well, we got to figure that out, but we'll look at it with and without the outliers. And, and they look at it with and without, and they say, hey, this one doesn't make sense. Maybe the equipment didn't work. Maybe this wasn't right. We have to check this again. And I don't know if everyone else has a calendar handy or a calculator. 1919 was a number of decades ago. In fact, it was over a century ago. And amazingly, a number of times they've been able to do repeats of the Eddington experiment during eclipses, and they've been able to set people up. And what's interesting is that repeat experiments have shown the same result. They've backed up what was put forth by Einstein, and they've backed up what Eddington determined in his first experiment, in his first measurements. It's very, very interesting to me that they're willing to hone in on these sort of small differences. That scientists are willing to say, hey, look, yeah, this happened. This isn't cool. And then, they sort of, they get in on that. They don't look at the whole picture. They're unwilling to look at what was right. They're unwilling to go and look at the, dozens of experiments carried out afterwards that verified what the postulates were, what the hypothesis was essentially verified in the first experiment, but it wasn't 100%. No one said it was 100%. They said, hey, this happened. We're not 100% sure yet, but this is looking really good. And what's his name? Ross, I think the guy. Ross is like, no, they threw it out. No, it's not the same. Saying that you had a problem and then throwing it out, it doesn't make sense. Now, I'm going to use this as a transition to another topic I want to cover quickly this morning. Because I've been ill, as people know. Because I have a single kidney. I've talked about that multiple times. Having a single kidney, I'm at greater risk of something going wrong. And I've got a measurement. It's completely not. There's something wrong. Yeah. There you go. Right. Deep state command. This Commander 401. I love doing stuff with Commander because they always have an interesting take on things, and they have Commander's got some great knowledge about things, especially the religious stuff and what's actually written in religious documents. But yeah, no, if there's something off, you assume something's wrong. You're either going to assume that the measuring instrument isn't right, or that something like there's a calibration problem with the tool you're using, right? If you think you're taking off 3/1000ths of an inch and you check with 3 measuring tools and you find out you took off 6, something probably isn't right on your milling machine, or vice versa, right? You're going to check it, but that's what you do. And so one of the things that I haven't done a lot recently is weigh myself, because weight and body composition aren't the same thing. And I was weighing myself like once a day, every day for a few months, and it was really wearing on me a little bit, because there's something that happens. There's some psychological things that happen when you live with obesity. And so So here's what I'm going to talk about is like when you got to look at the measurements you get and what they mean and whether the measurements you have are the whole story. And so when Nathan takes an auto level and he doesn't do any measurements, he doesn't actually get one. He watches how an auto level is used to get topographical differences in a small job site. I can't remember exactly the video, but it was something like laying out a fence or laying out a backyard property, something where planar surveying would be absolutely fine, where the curvature of the earth would not even add a quarter of an inch of difference to the whole measurement, because it was a very small like backyard layout. It's like if I want to put in a deck or I want to put in a long fence or put a gazebo that's perfectly level, and I use the word perfectly in quotes, but like something that's essentially perfect. You want a gazebo that's at the same level as your deck, but you want to walk across your yard to get to it, but you want to be at the same height. You could use an auto level and you could figure that out, or you could figure out what the difference in height is, right? You could build it and then say, oh, like when I sit on my back deck that's attached to my house, I'm at 5 feet above the grade, and my gazebo is 5 feet above the grade, but when I use an auto level, I can see that when I'm sitting on my gazebo, because my property is on a hill, when I'm sitting in my gazebo, I'm 5 feet above the grade at that point, but I'm actually 10 feet lower than I am at my back door, because my backyard's a hill. That's what the experiment that he drew out, like, or the his thing was. And then he's like, well, what if, and he's quite right. What if the air is denser, 15 feet lower or 20 feet lower or 80 feet lower, looking out over a hill? And then, so that would fuck up getting spherical excess. Well, Nathan, I'm fucking sorry. That is not how you calculate spherical excess. You're looking at a tool that looks a little bit like the tool that can help calculate spherical excess. And I'm pretty sure you could probably get reciprocal zenith angles off of an auto level. I looked up how to do it with a theodolite to double check what I understood about it. But the reciprocal zenith angle method of getting spherical excess is where you have, two vertical lines like this. I don't know how to get the thing to see it. Like, here we go. They're going straight up. But when you do it in two spots far away, this one's going straight up to the ground. This one's going straight up to the ground, but they're actually like in a V to each other. You can calculate the angle. Now, the angle difference isn't going to be anything like what I just showed with my hands. Yeah, one end of Olympic size. Yeah, no, you're right. So, now, Commander, I'll disagree with you. Using the precision of a machinist from one end of an Olympic pool to the other, you probably could, if you talked about 10,000ths of an inch. You probably could, in an Olympic-sized swimming pool, calculate the curvature of the earth. But you'd need to be using like ridiculous tools to do it. You just don't notice. Over a short distance, like 50 meters, 100 meters, something like that, you just don't see it. It's a very, very gradual curve. That's just that's how it is. And so I came to this other thought that I sometimes put too much effort into debunking flat earth, which I don't even do it that hard, right? I'm not like MC Toon, I'm not like Craig, I'm not like Dave McKeegan or some of these other, like, I'm leaving out all sorts of people. I'm not even like Slim, who does his show and does like a once a week thing. I comment sometimes on that, and when I'm on the panel, I love doing that. It's a lot of fun, but it's not like, not like I'm putting a ton of effort into it. The ripples in the water, yes, you're right. Yes, Commander points this out here, right? Ripples on the water, orders of magnitude larger than a different, yeah, and you would have a long ass process of trying to settle that water down to the point that you could actually measure that. Now, like, I'm sure you could, using some sort of like laser ranging or something like that, you might be able to develop that kind of precision on the surface of the water and actually get, like, even when you have it perfectly still, it's not actually perfectly still, but you could, like, you probably do some sort of measurements with something extremely precise. But we're talking about a small amount. And you know, so like a lot of times they'll say like, well, is the meniscus of my water, you know, on the side of my cup. I don't think they know what that is. I don't know if they know what surface tension is, right? So like you can, I don't know if anybody's done this where you like you pile a meniscus on a glass of water or something, and you can actually, because of surface tension, you can actually like make like a small hump of water on top of a glass. You can fill a glass all the way up to the top, and then it has the meniscus that goes down. But then you can make like the opposite of that on the top before it flows over. There's like at one point one drop too many, and then the whole thing falls apart, right? 5/1000 of an inch, like 1/5000 of an inch is the engineering tolerance for a wave pool. I'm assuming, is it 5/1000 that you're seeing, Commander, or is it 1/5000? I would have thought they do it in thousandths of an inch. So 5/1000 wave pool, where they test ship design over the length of the pool. Yeah, so you're talking about like a tow tank or something like that. So yeah, so in that case, they'll look at the hydrodynamics of like how a boat or a submarine or something that works in the water with the U.S. Navy and other navies around the world would all want to do this, and so would commercial marine operations and even like pleasure marine. Like you don't want to get in the business of selling people like $50,000 boats and have them all sink when they buy one, right? Like that would fucking suck. So they have testing grounds for this, and they have these tow tanks. Yeah. So okay, I get what you're saying. 5/1000 of an inch. Yeah, you might be doing speech to text or something, Commander. I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, so I'm just clarifying. But yeah, no, it's a giant wave pool. So yeah, these wave pools they can see how a ship's model performs, and then they'll take it out for sea trials. And our buddy Tiny Captain does sea trials with actual built ships, even after they've done all the engineering and put it all together. Once the engine's in, once it's fully built, once it's fully rigged, once a boat's actually ready to go out on the ocean with the actual equipment that has in it and the crew and everything, you know, they'll take it out on the ocean and like, you know, take it for a few trips around in some different conditions and say, hey, like it's calm, let's check it out, everything's good, it doesn't tip over. And there's they're cool videos, but they're fucking terrible tragedies because I think people have died, and certainly lots of resources are wasted. But I've seen a couple of videos where they built a boat, launched it, and the fucking thing's fallen over. And I think in one case, what they didn't do was they had a whole bunch of people on the boat for the launch, and all the people wanted to wave at the people on the dock, and they were all on one side of the boat, and the boat tipped over because there was way too much weight, because they put so many people wanted to be part of the launch. And I don't think the boat was overloaded. Like they said, okay, we can have 400 people on the boat or whatever, but all 400 people were standing on the rail on one side, and the boat tipped over, or they were on the upper deck and did it, or something that would never happen in regular operation. It fucked it up. You know, these are the things people have to think about and try out in real life. Because I bet that boat worked on paper. I bet that boat worked with a normal crew. I bet that boat worked with a normal group of people on it doing regular jobs with its load centered. But it didn't work when they loaded it up with a bunch of excited people who all wanted to be on one side of the boat because they wanted to see something on that side of the boat. That's a fucking problem, right? I don't know if they've engineered that problem out of things, or it's just like, you know, captains and other managers of a ship are like, yeah, we just don't fucking do that anymore, right? We don't do it like that. Because like boat, like doesn't matter what you build. Like when I load a truck, Commander's truck are too, so they know just as well. You know, if something's pretty light, I don't really care where it is. Like if something weighs like 5,000 pounds, I might put it anywhere because I want to fit something else with it on like a flat deck or something. If something weighs 50,000 pounds, I want to get that pretty close to the center. I'm actually going to pay attention to where it is. But that's only 25 tons. That's not a tremendous amount of weight, but side to side, I want it on there. I'm not going to worry about where it is compared to the axles that much. With the type of work I do, I'm gonna try to like put it in the best possible spot for it to ride. When it gets to be like 50 tons, I really care. Like I'm looking, like I will measure quarters of an inch to get it where it needs to be. If I don't have like a physical reference point on the trailer deck, or I don't have like a center point on the thing, I will load and reload a piece of equipment that weighs 50 tons to get it to sit even, because an inch with 50 tons is a whole lot different than an inch with 5 tons in terms of how a truck sits. And so these things are important. And so that brings me to my last conversation of the day. I'm rambling on quite a bit here, and I'm gonna post my music video later this morning. I'm gonna add some stuff to it, right? I'm gonna add some pictures to it. I'm gonna put them up with it. I'm gonna play it with my, my version of the Tank Girl character that I do on AI and a few other images. I'm just gonna put it up there. I think it adds some visual interest. I think she's a cool character from the comics, and the movie too. Anyway, I love the character of Tank Girl. I love, I don't know why I love that character, because it's like doesn't take shit from anybody. Just like Brian Boitano, she doesn't take shit from anybody. Oh, you're still here. That's good. Oh, I appreciate it, Commander, because Commander, it says there's 0 people watching, but you are, I don't know how you do it. I don't know if you're out on the road or you're at home or whatever, but yeah, you're in Buffalo. You're out on the road, right? Because you don't live in Buffalo. But yeah, you're out on the road in Buffalo, and you're still paying attention. It looks like 0 people are watching, but I will upload my song with the stuff, and people can try to enjoy it. And I did play it in the background on this video. It's something I was trying prior to actually issuing it as a piece of music. Oh, good old General Mills. Yeah, I have ancestors that worked with a different company, not General Mills, that does a lot of making of food products. And they actually were, I don't know if they were a machinist, but they were like a millwright that worked on early factories back in the day, probably in the 20s and 30s. Of the 20th century, maybe other parts of the century as well, but that's what I remember. So I won't go into a tremendous amount of detail, but yeah, there's a lot of things go into food production. But if I go on another tangent, I won't get to this point. So I haven't been weighing myself every day, and I weighed myself again after getting surgery, kind of a week later, and I'd put on a few pounds, like 5 or 6 pounds, and it's kind of been bugging me. And I was thinking about just life in general, about how sometimes everything you do to make something good just doesn't fucking work out. And so I was paying a lot of attention to my food intake, a lot of attention to what I've been drinking. And I've made some like great changes. And I spoke to my bariatric specialist this week. So I guess that was on yesterday morning, I think. I'm pretty sure it was yesterday. It might have been the day before. It might have been Monday morning. I spoke to my bariatric specialist while I was delivering a crane. I was just driving down the road. So they just phone me and go through things with me. And I take all my notes ahead of time, so I don't have to stop or anything. They ask me some very basic questions about my blood sugar, about medications, what's changed. And of course, I told them about the surgery, which I didn't have time to tell them about because they very quickly decided to do this procedure. I was in there within 2 weeks of getting the diagnosis. That getting it out was better than leaving it in, which is what they'd done for about 10 months prior to that. So anyway, long story short, I've been thinking about how much of an effort we can sometimes put in. Yeah, I do too. So I'm talking about weighing same time of day, sort of with an empty system first thing in the morning, wearing the same thing or nothing or whatever. Like I try to keep it the same. But yeah, Commander, that's absolutely, I do the same thing. Cause like, and it, when you're physically working and stuff, you can sweat a lot, and you can drink enough water or not enough water, that type of thing. So yeah, I don't pay attention to that. And it's a pretty small percentage, but I was sort of on a downward trend, and I felt better. I felt stronger. And then I got the surgery, and I felt like garbage. And I feel like I've had to work harder to accomplish less. And that is what I want to talk about. So I want to talk about the psychological impact. And I'm thinking I may write because I'm only going to talk about like the psychological impact to me. I don't have a psychology education of any kind. I just know what goes on in my brain. And what goes on in my brain is a lot of negative self-talk. And the negative self-talk goes along with when something goes wrong. What did I do wrong? And I also realize that I'm willing to take blame for things fairly often. Like I'm 100% willing to just take all the blame on myself and just say, yeah, that's my fault. I should have done this. And then I had this situation show up on when we're trying to get this crane unloaded, and they I was complaining about this to a coworker, because I had literally said to the people in the yard at the crane place, bring these pads so we can unload this. And they're like, no, they'll have something down at the job site. And I said, well, just throw them in your truck just in case. I said, please just bring them. It'll be good to have the backup plan. And I left. I went on my way thinking that's what they would do. But the person's boss came in and vetoed what I said. And it's a little bit of a piss off, because I ended up waiting a long time. Now, I get paid for the hours I put in, and I didn't end up having to like sleep out on the road like half an hour from the yard or anything. But it ate up my whole freaking day, and it meant that I had a very late night getting home. It meant I had to start work late the next morning. I only got a half day's work in, although I felt like shit. So I wasn't unhappy to find that I was going home yesterday afternoon and not working another 5 or 6 hours of the day. It worked out well for me. I washed my truck off because it was dirty from going up north, and dirty in general from the winter, but I had gone up north, and I was going to wash it before I went up north, and I was like, nah, it's just going to be just as dirty as when I started out. So I washed it yesterday, and I'm off today. My side hurts like hell today. I don't know why. It hurt like hell yesterday afternoon. When I woke up this morning, it felt like garbage. It's part of the process, and they'll get this thing out of me hopefully in March, which is fast approaching. I was thinking to myself, sometimes you put all the effort into something and you don't see a result. And what can happen is you just give up. And that's something I want to talk about when it comes to living with obesity and living in a larger body, is that there's a lot of messages that you get that your body isn't cool. Like, and the messaging often is, your body doesn't fit here. Your body's a pain in the ass to me, like from someone else. Like you're too big. You take up too much room. You don't fit in the chair next to me. You don't fit next to me on the plane. You don't fit next to me on the bus. I really don't like that you're taking up extra room. I wish you were a smaller person. I wish you were a thinner person. I wouldn't make fun of you, except that you did this to yourself. And I wouldn't be mad at you, except that you did this to yourself. I blame you for this. This is your fault. That's the message that we often have. And it's been reiterated, it's calories in, calories out. So like, I'm defective. I ate too much food. That's my eating of food brought this upon myself. That's the message I've had for a long time. And I'm gonna write probably 2 different pieces, because my bariatric specialist, who I won't point out who that is an excellent doctor. I will be saying some good things about him, and I'll probably be doing them in a different venue than this. I don't feel like this is the appropriate venue to call people out by name, particularly, although I may if I get the opportunity to do it in somewhere else. But I'm going to point out something. My bariatric specialist has gone out of his way to say positive things to me at the end of every appointment, whether things have gone 100% right or 100% wrong or 50-50. And they've never actually gone 100% wrong or right. It's always been somewhere in the middle. I've done a lot of the right things, and I've done a few wrong things, or I've failed to do something. But I've never been told, you know what, like, if only you had done that, you wouldn't have this problem. I haven't been treated like shit, but I've been treated like shit in a lot of other places. And I've piled that on with the way I treat myself in my own brain. And I've talked about this before, and I'll be talking about it again, because the self-loathing that goes on with living in a large body and being told that it's not the right body, like you're defective. Like, I basically run into this all the time. And it's been getting better in the medical field. I got to say that. So that's like, I'm going to be saying something about that very soon, probably in an official capacity, not just talking on my YouTube channel. But I've noticed the process I went through at a different hospital, different urologist, different surgeon, everything I went through this time compared to last time, I can't say it was a night and day difference. A lot of the things are the same because the science and technology used is slightly different, but the procedure is the same. And what goes into giving someone anesthetic and worrying about, someone like myself that has respiratory issues and I live in a large body. I have genuine extra issues over someone that doesn't live in such a large body. My body's still larger now than it was when I was getting yelled at by a different doctor back in 2018 and being made to feel like an absolute pile of shit right before they went in to do this procedure. I was not happy. I felt terrible going into this 6 years ago. And I felt very positive about it. I was a little anxious, but I felt very positive about the procedure that as I went into it this year, less than 2 weeks ago. Actually, it might have been 2 weeks ago exactly that I was at the hospital getting the procedure done. And yeah, it doesn't feel good now to have a tube in here, but I know it feels a whole lot worse to be in fucking kidney failure. And that pain is nothing compared to the pain that you feel in your mind when you're constantly beating yourself up for being someone that doesn't fit in this world. And so that's why I'm putting this out there. Last week, someone who I don't know came up to me and gave me this comment, and I was like, yeah, this is I didn't know it was coming, but when it came, I'm like, oh yeah, this is, I just kind of immediately went into my usual mode, which is like, just fucking roll with it. This guy is just a tool or whatever, and this is just their shtick. But my hard hat fell off while I was underneath the machine trying to throw a chain into like a little nook or cranny to hold down this thing. And of course I'm bald. I'm sure you've noticed if you're watching now or later. But yeah, I'm a fucking bald guy, right? So there you go. I'm bald. I'm big. I'm hairy in a lot of ways. I'm bald on top. And he's like, "Oh, you're not just fat, you're also bald." And I'm like, "Yep, that's me. Big, ugly, and hairy. Bald on top. That's me." That was my response to that. And yeah, I mean, what the fuck am I gonna do? I'm me. This is the way I am. I want to lose excess adipose tissue to make my health better. I love my family. They love me. I don't think they're going to love me more when I lose excess adipose tissue. I've lost a lot of it. I don't feel like they love me more now than they did before. I tell you, I've worked hard to do this. I've given up since before my surgery. I've been giving up on having any diet soda or pop or Coke or whatever you want to call it. I have a problem with Diet Pepsi. And so yeah, I've ingested a lot of Diet Pepsi and Diet Dr. Pepper and shit like that in my life, and I need to stop. It's not good for me. It's not good for my kidney. It's not good for my system. And I've pretty much managed to like stop having it. It's been hard. And I'm still drinking some Gatorade to try and bring my electrolytes up with the sugar-free stuff. I want to get rid of that too. I want to just drink water. Can't really give up my coffee though. I need to, but I just fucking can't somehow. So, what am I saying here? I'm saying that it's hard to get rid of negative messages that you put into your own head. And it's hard not to get pissed off when people don't do things that you suggest should be done. And then something goes wrong because of it. Sometimes, I don't even think it's not even satisfying. Like some people are like, yeah, see, I told you so, right? Like that makes you feel good. It doesn't make me feel good. It makes me feel like, fuck. Like I saw this problem coming and I tried to do something about it and it didn't fucking go my way. And then I think to myself, like fuck, is my boss going to be mad at me? Like I told them what I did. I told them what I said. And, the comment I got was, it didn't sound like it was a us problem. And I'm like, yeah, it's not, we didn't cause the problem. We tried to solve it. I offered them all sorts of things to solve it, and they wouldn't hear of it, and that's life, right? I can't tell somebody else how to deal with their own equipment. At the end of the day, I can push to say, like, we need to solve this problem. This is causing other issues, but at the end of the day, the customer's the customer, and I'm not there to make their life harder. I'm there to make their life easier, right? I'm there to make sure their equipment arrives safely, in good shape, right? Like that's what counts. It's important that their equipment be safe, secure, and that I look after it in transit, and that it arrives in one piece, and no scratches, no nicks, that kind of thing. That's kind of where it's at, and that's where I want it to be. And I also got to remember that my previous vocation had me trying to see problems ahead and deal with them. And some of my colleagues have said, yeah, just don't try to do that, because it's not gonna, like, nobody's gonna listen to you, nobody's gonna care. And that's a hard thing to accept. And it's true, I'm just a truck driver, right? So I have some experience with what's a good way to do it and what's a bad way to do it, but not everybody's gonna listen to me. That's just life. Anyway, I'm gonna end the stream. I want to thank Commander for showing up and commenting. I appreciate the conversation. I hope your load up's going well. I hope the roads are good down there. I know the weather system that's come through here has been pretty wild, but it looks like it's calmed down now. I think if I had started my day a little later, I wouldn't be into any weather issues. But a lot of our customers want shit done first thing in the morning, and I think the weather forecast was some icy, difficult conditions. So sometimes it's better to just stay parked, and I think that's what a lot of people decide, right? That's the other thing. It's like our customers, like, they might not send their crew out if the weather's bad enough, because their crew isn't going to work. So they'll just say, fuck it, everybody stay home, we'll try again on Thursday. And so I may end up having a super busy day tomorrow. Hard to say. We'll see. It's been picking up, which has been good, because it's hard for me to make money when I sit home, whether it's because I'm sick or because it's slow. I want to thank everyone for coming by. I appreciate the support that I get from everybody. I appreciate the commanders here having a chat. And whatever you're doing out there, be good to yourself and be excellent to each other, as they say. That was Bill and Ted's thing. I saw Dr. Tapp bring that up when somebody was being funky in the chat on, I think it was on BSS, and they had some sort of a weird problem. I started watching that. I don't think I finished the whole thing. I watched a lot of it, or listened to a lot of it on Monday, but then I got a couple of phone calls. I got to go back and listen to the last 20 minutes of that and see what happened, because I'm pretty sure they debunked a lot of bullshit. They always do. And I love that. I'm shilling for BSS, and I'm shilling for Maya and Dr. Tapp, because they do a fun show, and they have a lot of good people on, and they shilled the fuck out of my white ball video a couple of weeks ago, which was super nice. So yeah, if you want to see how spherical geometry works, yeah, I show people my big white ball, and look for baller videos from me, because here I am, the lyrical baller. I put that in there, heavy hauler, lyrical baller, because what else am I going to call myself? I also got a new I put a different browser app on here. I'm going to see if that works. So please look and describe. I think you'll find it's salty, but also hopefully helpful. All right, I love everybody that comes to watch me, even if you're a flurf. Thanks for coming and hearing what I have to say. Everybody have a wonderful day.